I heard you had some questions.
No, I'm more concerned of you. How are you? Are you okay?
I'm doing good. I'm
okay.
Yeah, well, relatively speaking.
Right, of course. I mean, I was hoping that we can have a very large scale conversation considering your announcement earlier with no, kind of even attempt to have a conversation with the justices. I'm just wondering where your head's at, but if you're not feeling well, I don't want to bother.
Well, what about the announcement?
Well, I mean, talking about how you're aware of recent changes with the penal code, obviously.
Yeah.
Actively investigating the legitimacy of some of these changes.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's appropriate, and including to not having it appear backed by legislation, considering the entire penal code is legislation.
Yeah, I can explain that.
Okay.
I'm the mayor of Los Santos County. I receive complaints. I'm letting the public know that we're investigating the allegations.
Right. So when I reached out to you earlier, me and Murray and several of the judges have been at City Hall talking to people for hours about the penal code, explaining things, taking notes, because obviously the penal code is constantly adapting and evolving. Right. So we are listening to people. However, I'm also very well aware of the pulse that you have on the constituents and that people come and talk to you. That is why I called you earlier, because we were dealing with something where it was having to do with a contraband, and I figured you'd probably have a better idea about it. So I wanted to have a conversation with you because I am very well aware that is your place, and you have a great dialogue with the public.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, look, well, there's a context for the state announcement. I don't know why.
Well, I just would have loved a conversation. We were both in the PD meeting. Why didn't you come and talk to me?
I wasn't at the PD meeting. We were told to leave.
I saw you in the room.
We were told to leave. We left. Then we came back.
You could have shot me a text. If anything, I am always available to you, Nino.
Grayson. I have to respond to the public.
It was good to see you.
The public comes first.
I am wholeheartedly on the same page with you, Nino, but having open conversations between government bodies so that we can clear up narratives before you start spinning them might help us for the public.
There's no fucking spinning.
Not appear to be backed by legislation.
I'm going to say it like this. On Sunday.
Please don't raise your voice at me.
On Sunday, well, first off, you're the one spinning. Let's start with that. Because now you may have read that announcement in the way that you wanted to read that announcement, but I received a lot of complaints about these charges. And we do not owe you guys a phone call before addressing the public right away. Now,
I would like to think for the sake of transparency that you would at least do us that credit, because I would have done the same for you.
Why didn't it happen on Sunday?
What do you mean on Sunday?
When we were told to reduce the charges to 100%, because some charges were going to be adjusted.
Right.
There's no mention of all these charges coming through. They just kind of appeared out of the blue.
We have constantly told you about a complete overhaul of the penal code. We've talked about consolidating charges. We've talked about adopting the penal code.
Yeah.
This has been we've been talking about this for a month.
Okay. Why weren't these particular charges mentioned to us so we know how to address it?
I'm going to be honest with you, Nino. That's not your purview. We have the penal code presented. Wait. We have the penal code presented, and then we hear the feedback. This is part of the DOJ that we have the oversight of the penal code. However, where you do have purview is if you create legislation making things legal or illegal, we will adopt the penal code per that legislation.
Lord have mercy. No, we don't.
Oh my God. This needs to be a conversation with the legislative authorities. We're not going to just do this 1v1 on over phone call while you're in a hospital bed.
I'm not the one trying to get these answers right now while I'm in the hospital bed.
We've been waiting for you for 45 minutes, Nino. I wanted to have this conversation. I understand. But you can also understand my frustrations with the lack of conversation. I just wanted some understanding of what was going on, man.
You know how conversation happens You have it before you take action.
This isn't your place.
It seems that you believe that to be the case, but that is
the entire DOJ has that opinion. It is part of the Constitution. It is part of the judicial powers codified legislation. We are literally just doing our job.
You're not.
That's crazy. I'm going to end this conversation here, Nino. We'll have a much more in-depth conversation with more of the justices.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Nino. Thank you for slapping me in the face. Goodbye.
Usual response.
Which was?
She asked me why we're having the conversation about. So she asked about the state announcement. I said, well, we had to address the public who's bringing up the concerns. And she's like, well, I wish we would have had a conversation about it first. And I'm like, well, I have a duty to respond to the civilians, not to you first. You're not some kind of special, citizen that gets to have the, that takes priority over everything.
He did not think to conversate with you or your cabinet.
And I brought it up. I said, Sunday we could have talked about it. And she had the fucking audacity to say, hey, well, we told you guys that we were going to overhaul the entire penal code system. Fuck no, you didn't.
Wait, she said
that. And then she said, quite frankly, it's not within your purview. And I'm like, it is. And she said, well, the entire DOJ doesn't agree. I'm like, that doesn't matter. It's written in clear fucking English. It's fucking insane to me. And then she got mad that we were having this conversation. I'm like, you're the one who brought it up. Like, what do you want me to tell you? You ask for an answer, then you're mad you're getting an answer.
Yeah, I mean, I said I could tell her sass levels were peak today.
You could think you're a fucking unicorn all you want, but until I see you flying with wings and would have like 4 hooves or whatever, like that's not going to happen. Like, the entire DOJ can think whatever they want, and they can been proven time and time again that, I don't think they understand what the word legislation means.
I don't think they know what a lot of words mean.
Yeah.
They definitely don't know what a lane is.
Well, this is what happens when you fail upwards.
Yeah. No. You're not wrong. Oh. Yeah. Anyways.
That line of the entire DOJ disagrees with you. I doubt that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. They're gonna. It's. I don't know what their point is. They're appealing to authority that they don't have.
Yep.
It's a fucking logical fallacy. Like if I haven't seen one.
Yeah. I'll also point out that Nathaniel Grayson would definitely not agree with that, but that's why he's not a justice.
Yeah. No.
So let's just talk about the elephant in the room here. So as far as most of these penal changes, they have an odor of basically the marshals just going directly to justices and saying, we need this, and this to be illegal. I don't think it's the LSPD who.
No, Turner knew nothing about it.
Right. So we're talking marshals here. Marshals are contacting justices, right?
Yeah.
And they're saying, why don't you guys make this? Because where are they coming up with these ideas?
I don't think they've been able to retain any information over the timeline of events over the last 6 months. And a part of that includes the very clear instructions that we were given. It's why the fucking medical shit wasn't illegal. You gotta just pass legislation. That's it. You can't just wake up one day with your fucking gavel and just make new laws. That's what legislation is for.
The DOJ does not exist to enable the police departments, any of them. They exist to protect the people.
I don't think they recognize that. That's the problem.
They exist to preside, rule, and in some cases, investigate with an investigative body, for example. Like Not a lot of people realize this, but the FBI itself is a department of the DOJ in Liberty City. But that FBI itself still has to bring people before the court to get ruled on. In matters if they're pressing a charge. I've never heard of them just making up. Yeah, I mean, that's legislation. They should be, the DOJ, if they have these feelings, should be coming and petitioning the legislators and saying, look.
They can even do it themselves, and that's what's fucking amazing to me. They can literally do it themselves, but they won't because they're fucking lazy and fucking inept. This person had the fucking audacity to say that it is their authority to write whatever the fuck they want. Like it's actually cooked. We have this documented, this entire conversation on their legislation.
Oh God, this is the entire Pred thing again. Oh God.
It literally is. Let's just wake up one day and just off of rumors make things illegal. Like, are they it's fucking cooked. It's entirely fucking cooked. Like, I mean, I don't know how much I think, I don't know. I have no good things to say. This is pure ineptitude.
Well,
they said, I can't believe you guys didn't decide to talk to us first. You were at the PD meeting. I'm like, motherfucker, we got thrown out of the meeting. We were there for like 2 minutes. And this is aside from the fact that who the fuck, they had the ability to talk to us. What, you got to take action and then be like, why are you not speaking to us? Are they fucking stupid? They can't be that far up their ass, right? That's a trick question.
It's when you punch back. Why are you retaliating?
Oh my God. Fucking cry me a goddamn river.
I think actually the Constitution itself, in Article 2, Section 1, I think that needs to get rewritten because somebody snuck in a turd into that. The DOJ should not be listed as a legislative authority with authority over all legal and judicial matters in San Andreas. That line needs to be removed. I don't know who put that line in there, but they're not supposed to have that.
I think they believe that I don't know. I do not understand their logic because there is none. And that's the fundamental issue with this, is that I'm not trying to be someone's fucking teacher. This isn't goddamn kindergarten. This ain't fucking kindergarten. The audacity to say that we need to not be addressing the public and we need to talk to them every fucking turn. Motherfuckers, they put this shit out. They hid this from us. They hid this from the people. I think they wanted. I think this is the reaction they wanted, if I'm going to be honest. But look, I don't know if I've got it in me. Yeah.
Here's the roadblock. Again, I'm going to cite Article 2, Section 1. The DOJ shall have legislative authority over all legal and judicial matters within San Andreas, period. That's what they're going to cite in their defense right there.
We have...
That's one we can repeal.
Yeah, but we don't...
That's the Constitution. Sorry.
No, but yeah, but that... The penal code is legislation.
Right. And the Constitution says they have full legislative authority over San Andreas.
No, it doesn't. Because, no, hold on. There was already a letter from the state officials that we have documented that explains exactly what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I want to point specifically at the line. Hold on. This is an argument, but this is the problem, Abilene. We already had this conversation. They just ignored everything that was stated by the state officials and the governor. It says legal and judicial matters.
Yeah. But it says legislative authority. So if that's trying to word it in such as they're
No,
setting
this
precedent
argument's already was made 3 months ago, and there's already been a ruling.
Okay, perfect. I won't bring it up again. However, I will say this though, it definitely will not hurt us to create our Los Santos Penal Code and separate from anything that they, because your jurisdiction will override their penal code.
And
now
like
we're gonna
we've had this entire back and forth already. It's just like these people are so fucking I don't know, they're so far up their ass. It's just I'm sick of conversations. These are bad faith conversations. I think they just I think they just want to be like the justices of old, and it's not like that anymore. The people's voice matters. They are above every institution. Every fucking institution across San Andreas. It's the people's voice that matters. And they got to learn that. TJ, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
We need separation of powers to be more in concrete, written somehow. I don't know, an amendment to the we need to think about adding an amendment to the Constitution that creates a cemented separation of powers.
Let me bring up the document real quick. Actually, the document should be in our emails. What is it? So, let me see. Is there a way to look up like the old comments?
On the government website?
No. There's a Word document that should be in there. It's the judicial powers one. Like the back and forth was in there as well. I mean, we cited everything for it. I don't know if you can bring.
Would that be judicial powers codified?
There should be a Word document that's in our email chain.
Oh, I got it. I'm sorry.
Oh, right here, modification. Oh. Wait a minute. We did address this already. It literally is written in there.
Well, even in the judicial powers,
it says it right there.
Yeah.
Where's the thing at? In the email chain?
You don't even have to. This is going to be in the MDT. Hold on.
Oh.
Oh my God, bro. Like, what the actual fuck? It literally even says it in there.
Tony, I think he's referring to judicial powers codified and shared reports.
Look at, or just look it up in, hold on, judicial. Yeah, you can look it up on the legislation tab. Wait, why isn't this looking up?
Judicial powers codified. I'm in there.
And then go to the Justice Authority. And any legislative change they enact needs to be, it says it in there, needs to be done through the legislative process.
The Penal Code is a section in the MDT that contains all state and county laws. Justices are responsible for attaining the laws and may change them when necessary. This includes adding and removing charges, modifying the wording, fines, times, and accessory compliant. They may modify this at will. They add, remove, modify county laws in the Penal Code that comply with any county laws and penal defined in them. Oh my Lord, have mercy. They were a part of the review process. I don't know where the confusion is. I think we need, you know how like, I don't know. I think it's time for me to run as a state official. How do we start this conversation?
Start with a question. And that question is, why did you make these changes without undergoing the process?
Oh my
That
God.
was much nicer than what I was going to say.
What were you thinking, Jason?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
That's what I want to say. I'm going to be honest.
I would go with Abeline's question, though.
I'm so afraid of having this conversation, even with the just the huge amount of defensive energy that was on that phone call. Like, it's like, how dare you be upset? Like, how dare? Like, it's just it's so dangerous. You know, engaging in that kind of conversation, it's gonna go. They had a problem with that state announcement, like that. We're obligated to speak with them first and not addressing the public. I mean, they had that opportunity. I don't get it. Like, this city does not consist of the mayor's office and the DOJ. It's everybody. Okay. I think we might, the best option is to perhaps have our own penal code, our own criminal code. I think that's the best way to circumvent this, and then it's idiot proof. And it just kind of feels like that's kind of what things have amounted to. She referred to what we're doing as a slap in the face, which is fucking absurd. You know what I mean? Like, fucking cry me a goddamn river. Like, you know exactly what you're doing. It's just, I can't deal with that. I can't. It's perfect. You know, it's let me see if Turner's around. Set up his meeting over here.
This Turner?
Hey, Turner, if you want to have that meeting, I'm over at the last ICU room.
All right.
All right.
Can he bring food and drinks too?
Bye-bye.
All right. See you in a bit. I got some food right here for you.
Oh, okay. I can run and get some for everybody too if I need to.
Oh, no. I'm giving it to Jason, who's over here.
Okay. All right.
I'll see you in a bit.
I'll be there. I'm so hungry lately.
Abilene, you mind giving that to Jason?
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah.
One.
Thank you.
Two.
I think that my summary to all of this is I have grown uninterested in this entire system that continues to be abused. It's tiring. It's very tiring. And I know I'm not the only one that's tired. You know, like, how is anybody, like, it's just taking away everyone's the power of the people. It really is. And I'm sick of the DOJ just wanting to play God. Or like you said, Jason, like you know, working on the behest of the police department. It's disgusting, quite frankly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably more on the behest of the marshals, to be honest with you.
I mean, yeah, Barrett's been digging, but that's a separate conversation.
He was very upset that we put out the state announcement. I like, why the fuck are they crying?
Because he wants to do things with no retaliation. That's how these cops are nowadays. They want to do things and not get retaliated against. I mean, shit, even look at the penal code that's in there right now. They've upgraded assault and battery on a government employee into a violent felony.
But something like that at least is within reason because it's legislated already, right? Illegalizing, can you imagine if like you take the United States as, like, I don't think they have like the cognitive skills necessary to be justices because they do not recognize that the action that they are taking completely circumvents legislation. Like that, those synapses aren't firing. Am I wrong about that? Please do feel free to please do challenge my argument there.
It's not an argument. It's a statement of fact.
There is no need for legislation if we can just pass it. You know, it's so cooked.
We've done a full circle.
It's tiring.
It is.
Not interesting.
No, it's. I feel like I'm becoming intellectually like brain dead every time these things come open. They're just I have to play dumb. I can't. It's very difficult. Oh, fuck. Oh, there might be Turner coming right now. I think that we should pull. I think our short maneuver right now is we pass legislation that literally says that our criminal code is that in Los Santos County, all charges must be backed by either state or county legislation. And we start with that being draft one. What do you think? And then build from there.
Well, I think that's like sewing up a wound while the infection's still in there without scooping out the infection. And what I mean by that is like, we could put that out there, but then all those codes are still staying up there. And who's going to change them back?
But the codes become irrelevant, right?
Okay, so you take that into a courtroom where they themselves are then presiding and ruling over these cases and they're going to adhere to and rule.
No, they can't. That would be. They cannot. The legislation takes precedence over anything that's in the penal code.
Oh, I know what you're saying. I sure do.
I get what you're saying. Is that I get the energy you're on. Is that this feels they do not care about the law. Is that what you're pretty much saying?
Oh, they care about their law. They don't want to hear anyone else superseding them or creating law that they didn't have a hand in, etc. So while we can put that out, they'll say something like, well, that doesn't apply here in this courtroom, and the penal code that we look at is this. So we can have that legislation there all we want, and they'll say, if you think we committed a civil rights violation, sue us, or something of that nature. They'll just stonewall it, yada, yada, yada. Which is why I think your idea is perfect, but it should be accompanied by something that, like myself or Michael was suggesting. All we have to do is go to the penal code, go back into history, redo it, all the charges that we agreed with before we did that, and call that the Los Santos Criminal Penal Code. And then an additional legislative document that any changes to the Los Santos Penal Code must be constitutionally sound, and what you mentioned about being back through the state of the county. Because we could put that one legislation out, right? But then someone gets arrested with the contraband, and they go to a bench trial, and the judge is gonna say, "Well, this here," and they always do this. They'll cherry pick. Happens all the time. They'll say, "Well, right here in the penal code, it says that this card here is contraband, yada yada yada. You will be charged with that."
Oh my God, this is. Could it get any worse? Could it really get any worse? Is what I'm wondering.
Yes.
God damn it.
So, also with that, I don't know who would have the ability to do this, but if we're gonna have the Los Santos Penal Code, that's gonna need to be officiated. We're gonna need to see that be able to pull up the MDT and see, charges Los Santos, charges Blaine County, charges state. Right, that's what it's going to come down to.
Why didn't they just legislate it? I'm still just. How do they not recognize that there's a reason why things need to be legislated? Do you think they're all Canadian? What if they're all Canadian? Maybe that's what it is.
I do think there's some meat to that where some of them are not from a coastal city. That could have something to do with it.
Look, I don't know much about Canada. I mean, Michael's from over there, so maybe I'm wrong.
Well, funny enough, Michael knows more than them, so
I don't know. This is such a this is a very, like I said, delicate conversation, given the fact that we're rerunning episode 3 from 2-3 months ago.
So who's definitively Canadian?
Michael is. I know he's Canadian.
Yeah, but he's on our side.
Oh yeah, no,
I
don't know.
He's smarter than all of them, so that doesn't.
It's not even like this. It's hard for me to think that this is how is it? I don't know. I just want to understand the logic. I think it's got to be laziness. I don't know. I don't know. Turner should be on his way. I don't know why he's not here yet.
I don't think he has keys to this, does he? Let's see if it's locked or not.
Yeah.
Oh. What up, Big Chief?
Howdy.
Hey, how you doing, Turner?
What's going on here? You doing all right?
I was driving to the meeting and I had a psychological aneurysm.
Is it in the water?
They said that there's a guy named Dr. Smith that I might need to be worried about, but I want the yak all over the place.
Okay. All right. Well,
yeah.
I mean, are you in the condition right now to have a meeting, a conversation, or you want to relax?
Yeah. No, I can have a meeting here.
All right. Fair enough.
All right.
How's everyone doing, by the way?
Hello, Chief. Abilene Contralto. Nice to meet you.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Abilene Contralto. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Hello, and I'm Jason Todd.
Hi there. Have I met you before? I feel like I have,
Possibly.
but... Okay.
New meeting room.
Either way. More or less, Nino, just want to touch base with you and have a conversation about a few things.
Absolutely.
I guess we'll start it off with some of the easier ones, which is the VAF and hot gun legislation. Last we talked, it was being reviewed, and you're going over it. Has there been any progress on that?
There is a DOJ version that got pushed forward, and I don't know what. Well, so I haven't been around for 3 days, so I haven't gotten a status update. Transparently, there, Turner, this whole penal code change has been We've played this. We've gone through this rodeo before, where it's giving PTSD, and we had a meeting set up for today to discuss. It's a normal like weekly meeting with everybody, and that's kind of where my, I don't know what you want to call it, but this paralysis kind of came from. So I can ask for an update and then see where it goes from there. But it's kind of in their hands at the moment.
All right, fair enough. And that's both for Hot Gun and VAF.
That entire conversation effectively needs to happen, and I think that's going to be a broader conversation. So the DOJ wrote up, for example, so the hot gun stuff, I think they want to, they told me they want to do it through, they said they didn't want us to push legislation, but they believe that they can do it through case law.
Can they create case law through an appeal?
Technically, yes.
That. Okay.
The current common law right now, the SOARS one is from an appeal, so it's been done before.
All right. Well, I have a few, I believe a deputy and a couple officers who are interested in picking up that case and appealing those charges, or that whole judicial outcome of that case. Maybe we could get some case law built off of that. I didn't know if you had anybody on your team. It sounds like you're going to have your hands full here. I didn't know if you had anybody on your team that wanted to assist in that case. Not sure if they need it or not, but thought I'd reach out.
Wait, with what again?
Appealing the hot gun case.
I don't think it'd be. I think that would be something that the PD should take on.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
We
have our hands tied. I think, to be honest, we've been dealing with a lot of these. We've been dealing with just all this new legislative stuff. We haven't even been able to take a look at the 8 pieces of legislation that civilians want us pushing forward.
Okay.
So backlogged is what I'm trying to say.
We'll do it the hot gun aspect of it, and the VAF when the sooner the better. But obviously, it's not a priority compared to some of these other situations you have on hands here.
Absolutely. However,
lawsuits.
Yeah, go for it.
We have, I believe, 5 or 6 lawsuits pending from November.
Wait,
now
what?
Starting to, yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
That are now starting to I don't want to say come to light, but finally being settled or scheduled.
Okay.
So this is between, some of them are between 10,000, some of them go up to, I believe, a couple million that they're looking for. Just at first glance, I don't think we're actually looking at any sort of millions and millions of payouts. But
is there, just for context, is there a reason why they haven't been scheduled?
That's something I'd like to look into a little bit further. From what I gather, it's between scheduling issues and there appears to be some sort of out of court negotiations going on, between parties. I'm still trying to get a grasp on all that.
Okay.
It doesn't seem very pursued per se by either side. So some of it I'm trying to get. I believe we have Chris Peters. We have who's working a couple of the cases. We have a few people within the PD who are working them. I just want to make you aware that we have some on the table. We're working on them. There is wrongdoing in some of them, without a doubt. So there is going to be payouts on that. But yeah, I want to keep you in the loop here. That's going to come out of our budget, obviously.
Jesus. Speaking of budget, how's that looking?
Compared to what I used to have, it's looking amazing. However, I'm hearing money goes pretty quick here with upgrades, and I'm quickly finding out that our vehicles require quite a bit of maintenance in terms of keeping parts upgraded. And we have quite a few vehicles that are not upgraded that I would like to. Obviously, I'm sure there's something you've dealt with in the past.
Yes.
What has our budget looked like? Nobody's given me any solid answer as to how much we get a weekly, monthly. There's no figure. Is it as we need it?
The budget is primarily supposed to be coming from arrests. It's one of the big reasons why. So fundamentally, the PD should. So I'll break it down like this. I'm gonna be what some of the things I might say might sound a little nasty, but they're not intended to be. The PD has a budget that grows as a consequence of arrests. And with the amount of crime that takes place in the city, the LSPD need the equipment, the upgrades, etc., in order to appropriately combat those things. Which is where the whole conversation about why crimes that occur in Los Santos County that are handled by LSPD should be processed down here, since that is the avenue by which y'all are able to maintain your upkeep. Now, the mayor's office historically has tried to help where it can be, but over the last, I'd say 3 months, a lot of that has fallen into the roadside of politics. You know what I mean? Where do people get processed? Well, we came, this is my 95. I'm gonna, all that kind of bullshit came to fruition. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, ideally, most of that money it should be coming from the arrests.
Okay.
But then we can help supplement where it can, and that's where that 30%, comes into play. Where we say, come down to the court center, we'll help pay for the 30%, so we're not flipping the entire bill.
Okay. All right. And that money from the arrest, that's all handled automatically.
Yes.
The money's distributed. Okay.
That is correct.
I was not aware of that.
One of the things that I recommended. Yep. One of the things that I tried to recommend, and once again, this is kind of fallen on one of the big reasons why change needed to happen at the top, is there needs to be strategy, just as we use strategy at the court center or strategy with other things that we do. The LSPD needs strategy with their budget. Because from what I've gathered, and from what I understand, instead of the upgrades being done strategically, they've been kind of done for everybody. You know what I mean? So one recommendation I had is, an example of strategy would be, you have a certain number of vehicles in your fleet that are upgraded and available to your offices, right? Like maybe there's X amount of this vehicle, 2 of the Interceptors, whatever they may look like. That way, the strategy becomes, we're getting this amount of money coming into our budget. We're going to put this amount into upgrading the vehicles. And then if people want to upgrade their personal vehicles, they can do so because they already make enough money, right? Just to give you an example, we paid out up to $250,000 per officer during Christmas, right? And we already subsidized the repairs. So people have the ability to upgrade their personal cars if they so fit. But they may not be able to get a $500,000 engine, right?
Right.
But that's expected. You know what I mean?
That's where the department vehicles come into play, though, right?
Precisely.
I need someone in charge of looking into vehicles. That's what I need.
Last I heard, Maxwell was helping alongside.
No, I need
D.
somebody's job is maintaining these vehicles. That's their job.
I think that's D.
I don't want an officer doing it.
Oh yeah. Listen, up to you. But I agree with you.
I'll figure that out.
The vehicle maintenance in and of itself is its own project.
Right. It's actually a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll look into that.
I mean, I would think like a list of vehicles, like what are their types, you know? It's
yeah, types of vehicles, upgrades, quality of upgrades,
yeah,
engines, kind of wear and tear. Just somebody to keep up with it. It's, it's a big undertaking initially, but it won't be once it's
agreed.
Initially put up. Easy to maintain. I'll look
Absolutely.
into that. That solves that, and that on my list here. Let's see. I think that conversation hit several birds with one stone. So, between money and what's going on with the cabinet. So, I don't think I have anything further this time. Do you have anything that you want to cover?
Yeah, like how have things been generally over the last week? People motivated, things going well, are they advancing,
I set my expectations early on with all of my high command. I asked them to speak to their command. I'm noticing a lot of changes for the better.
That's good.
I still see plenty of motivation. I don't see really a whole lot of negative going on. Of course, it's possible. It is.
Yeah.
But I think everyone's been doing actually a pretty good job. There's going to be problems. There will be mistakes. We'll address them as they come. But overall,
Yeah.
I think the PD's been doing pretty damn well.
That's good. Are they receptive to you being in charge?
I believe so, but time will tell.
Really? I mean, what makes you say that though? Like, I mean, think after like a week, you'd at least have like an impression. Like, are they kicking their feet, not coming on duty? Is it like?
I don't see any issues like that, Rosin.
That's good. There was a lot of that back when the last chief was put into places, which is why I ask.
People could be doing a good job here. They could be respecting the rank. Respecting the person though takes time, and that's where you're gonna get the most out of anything I try to push and do. So, and that takes time to build that respect.
Okay, that's good. That's very good.
Which I don't know how long we have here, but we'll
as long as you need.
We'll do our best as we go.
As long as you need. I think that can be an ongoing conversation between you and I. You know what I mean? As I know that it would be a lot for me to expect for you to have like a full grasp of how things are in such a short time period,
It's definitely not easy.
No.
I don't see anyone coming in and changing a culture in a matter of, weeks or months here. It takes time. People want to change to you, but you gotta start chipping away at it, somewhere. Somehow.
Very true.
Little by little. All right. Well, have you heard anything? Any issues?
Yes.
You have.
Yeah, there's my morning started by getting reading a text message from Jesus Lord. As far as I'm aware,
about a traffic stop?
Yes.
All right.
I hate these 10 boards. I think they are a massive slap in the face to civilians. Now, I understand that there might be context, but I've seen them before. I've seen them even 10 years ago where someone in a traffic stop gives lip. It happens, right? But in the photos that I received, there is there's 10, anywhere from 8 to 10 police cruisers, Air One, and a fucking APC.
APC, I don't believe it was us, however, right? I'm fairly certain that was Marshall's. However,
yeah,
I was present at that.
Okay.
Well, I don't believe it's something that should happen often. I do believe that it creates some sort of camaraderie between us, between officers. We're not violating no rights. We didn't have any priority calls at that moment going on. This is a way for us to come together, in one way or another. There is I'm all for not wasting resources. I'm all for.
But Turner, it's at the cost of civilians.
Understandable, but would you rather us creating this camaraderie now?
I think over something else. Like, look, I'm all for camaraderie, right? Like, if you guys, I don't know, go to the airport, and do some, whatever, do some drills, or let's say, for example, that civilian is down for it. But the fear that I have is the fear comes more from that. What if the civilian, it was their breaking point, right?
In what sense?
Well, in the sense between, like, I want them to trust you guys. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's for their expense. You know what I mean? Surely there must be other options. Now, I do want to make it clear that this isn't exactly something that is this isn't like some end of the world shit, you know what I mean? But it is a concern. And if it's not going to happen often, then it is what it is. It's just, I wonder how I would feel if I was a civilian and that happened to me. You know what I mean?
Well, you're not wrong to some extent, but I think, like I said before, I think there's a time and a place for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And the time and the place does not come around often for something like that. It shouldn't come around often. If it should not come around often.
Okay. As long as it doesn't become like a thing that's happening like multiple times a week. You know what I mean?
No, it shouldn't. It should be at most. I don't even want to put a number on it, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be happening often. Either way, what exactly do you mean by breaking point? What kind of breaking point?
So this kind of goes into like the historics of what the civilian population's been feeling, and I think a lot of that has been.
Hey, real quick, Nino, is this gentleman?
Oh yeah, Junior's good.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Doc.
No worries. Hey, Turner. Turner, I trust you, so I'm going to give you a key fob just so you have a one-time in and out, so you don't have to come get me to get yourself out of here. Okay?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, here you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doc. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Mental exhaustion, Junior. We'll fill you in shortly.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I'm talking about breaking point, like the history of civilians, and some of this is going to sound pretty bad. We've lost a lot of our civilian population, not because they've turned to crime, but because they've given up. A lot of them used to come to us. I'll give you an example of JJ from the kebab shop. JJ from the kebab shop used to work every day, 12 hours a day. If you needed food, he was there. And one day, he was standing outside, and he was next to members of Hydra. Hydra's a gang that lives like across Mirror Park and whatnot. I don't know if you've ran into one before.
I have.
And JJ's friends with them, But JJ himself is as civilian as you can get. Doesn't commit any crimes. Isn't even somebody that like is a criminal that just hasn't been caught. He lives and breathes the restaurant. And so in comes a group and they do a drive-by on him. And he pulls out his civilian firearm and attempts to defend himself. And he's immediately thrown into jail, even though legislatively he stood his ground. as a civilian, you can defend yourself, right? You can, like, with your firearm. The intent of it. He's not listened to. He's told to shut the fuck up. He's just crying, all kinds of things like that. And this poor guy was so torn up, he walked up to me saying that he's got nothing left. That he's going to have to wait now 2 months in order to, you know, even get an opportunity to kind of defend himself, right? And the reason I bring up that particular story is that story is not unique. It happens very often. Now, I will be very clear here that a lot of these situations becomes he said, she said. So even when I get these, let's say, complaints or whatever you want to call it, even I have to ask myself the question, like, how much is being left out of this conversation? And so when I talk about breaking point, I talk about, is it gonna, at a certain point, civilians who genuinely try to stay on the good side of the law, sometimes that breaking point might be the difference between them deciding whether it's worth it anymore. Are you kind of getting my drift?
Somewhat. I believe so.
Yeah. So that's always the concern I have in the back of my mind. That's why we put the court center together as a means to give people a different avenue. And, you know, I think if it was like a gang member in the sanitation truck, like I'd be less like, you know, who gives, like, at some level, it's like, who gives a fuck? But when it's like a civilian that, you know, it's I don't want to see them lose trust in law enforcement, because at that point it becomes, well, who's left to protect? So, yeah. I wish I could look through my eyeballs, but like I said, Turner, this isn't like, I mean, if it's like a one-off thing, then it's like whatever. It's not, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill. You know what I mean? It's but it was something that was brought to my attention. I'm more concerned with the APC, if I'm going to be honest.
That wasn't us, was it?
I have
I don't
no
think we
idea
even
who
have
it
access
was.
to that. So
I think you do.
I do,
but it should only be via marshals. Yeah, some people are like tank certified. It probably was a marshal, and they
have tank. Okay.
Yeah, there is.
It was probably a marshal.
However,
it probably was a marshal, and even then, it should only be out during legislatively. There needs to be a state of emergency.
You know, I've never heard of a tank, sir, or you said the jump boys.
Yeah, Jump Boys, Jimbo and company.
I've not heard of either one of those. Interesting.
If it's helpful, the marshals have also taken a jetpack for chasing down helicopters as well.
Okay.
A what?
A jetpack.
Is it true there's no legislation around jetpacks?
It's not part of the flight legislation.
Yeah, I think that's something that needs to be expanded on.
I see. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I
don't
just saw my
believe they
first jetpack the other
existed.
day, that's why I ask.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, that's where our current headache is with this panel code changes. Had a very not so pleasant phone call from the DOJ. They not happy that we're reviewing these things.
I see. I asked out of curiosity to Arcadia, I believe.
Yeah.
She said it's in the DOJ's purview to do all this. So, you know,
they don't know what
y'all
they're talking about.
Whatever y'all need to do, whatever comes of it.
Yeah,
we're here to enforce the law. We'll enforce the law. The penal code as it's set, and you know, whatever changes, we'll adjust to it. So,
yeah, it's that's the roller coaster we're dealing with today. The unfortunate thing is, and this is for your own context, is they told us Sunday that they were just adjusting the times and fines. And then they kind of dropped this on everyone today. To provide some context, and this is a scary thing about it, is it draws into question where they are deriving the definitions of contraband, right? For something to be contraband, you need to show that it's contraband, right?
Are we talking specifically about the contraband charge, or are we talking about all of them in general?
The others have their own concerns, but that I think is the easy one to point at first, right?
Okay.
Because fundamentally, in order for something to be illegal, it needs to be legislated for it to be illegal. And even in the very document that the justices reviewed with us, it even clearly states that they can change things as long as it's within the realm of legislation. Otherwise,
Penal code legislation?
No. It is kind of. Its penal code should be derived from legislation. All right? That's what
it's legislation codified as to where it applies, basically.
Yeah. Like, it needs backing. Yeah, so to provide a context, and this is something that the state officials have underlined, and as well as the governor underlined, is, so about 3 months ago, there was a big conversation revolving around, like, medical equipment, right? If a doctor was to give you some, like, medicine, right? Or like an IFAC or something like that. Is that contraband? Right? And because it wasn't legislated, the charge doesn't exist. There's no backing legislation for it. In the same vein, there was conversations around like helicopter repair kits. To the extent that, you know, all of that was cleared up. So this is kind of like a reoccurring. This conversation has kind of like reopened itself, because I'll give you a hypothetical, right? Driving a 4-wheel car is illegal. You can just throw up the penal code.
How was that illegal? You're saying if someone put that on there?
Yeah, I mean, it would be the equivalent to if a justice put up driving cars is illegal.
I see.
Just because they feel like it, right? It circumvents their legislative authority. So that's pretty much where having to, you know, rederive all that. But how you doing there, Doc?
Interrupt. Is Charles Dangers allowed back, Nino?
Sure. Yeah, he can come down here.
So what the fuck's going on?
Who wants to fill in Junior real quick? I don't want to keep Turner waiting though, because we can. I mean, this is more. His time is more important right now.
Just real quick, a whole bunch of changes were made to the penal code without constitutional representation or legislative processes. This is done so by the justices of the DOJ.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's really good, isn't it? Just
and
like.
What makes it worse is some of them really don't make any sense and fly against common.
Yes. So here's so I'll tell you part of the concerning bits there, Turner, is that some of these things are actually legally obtainable.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. That's
yeah. So the due diligence there simply wasn't present. So the sheer action that they took sort of it removes the underpinnings of our democracy, is the best way I can summarize it.
Yeah, I'm over here looking up the term contraband in every law dictionary I can find on the internet, and it's like it's a word with a loose definition, but the main theme is inherently illegal and against the law to even possess. But the thing is, some of these items listed here are perfectly harmless, other than the fact that they're being called contraband. Yeah,
right.
That's all for now.
Yeah, I think.
well, I'd definitely be curious to hear justification for some of those items for sure.
Well, that's how I look at it too. Is for me, like, it takes away from the PD's ability to investigate the context of all these things. In our society, the way that has been laid in front of us, I think it's been very clear that what should be happening is law enforcement investigates. They present the case, legislation is written, and then penal code charges are put into place. But instead, everything is skipped into what can best be described as putting us into a fucking arcade machine. You know what I mean? Don't bump into this box anymore. It's now illegal. Like, fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, like for the Group 6 cards, right? The only person who should legitimately have that is a Group 6 worker, you know, doing their duty. If someone else has that, that's possession of stolen goods, basically.
So,
you know, it's not contraband.
Yeah. What is likely going to come from our office is we're probably going to see a Los Santos County criminal code come out of this.
Entire criminal code?
I think so.
And it supersedes the states?
Technically, the state doesn't have one.
What
are we following now?
The original document that we've been defaulting on, basically.
To give you context, Archibald McCree did about 2.5 months ago published a 36-page document which underlined every penal code charge as well as the ones that required legislation to be written. No legislation was written for those things. If it's not legislated, it's not legal. You know what I mean?
Okay, well that's.
Oh, it's not legislated. It's legal by de facto.
That would make a lot of the charges we're charging invalid.
Precisely.
Superseded in jurisdiction.
I'm not talking about charges are changing now. I'm talking about.
Oh, some of the other ones, that was a big part of the argument and what we wanted to see cleaned up. Otherwise, it creates it becomes like a spider web, right? If someone were to argue the legitimacy, everything should be backed by legislation or case law. I will say that there is some leeway to be given for charges that are, let's call them legacy charges, like attempted murder of an LEO. Even though one could argue that they are based off, something like, the powers of the LEO or, backed by the Constitution, right? Because you could still make that argument that everyone has the, the right to live or whatever it is. So most of those other charges have some sort of legislative or constitutional backing. Some of these other ones, not so much. I'll give you another example, the speeding legislation. The penal code changes to speeding. Some of those aren't inherently in line with what exists today. So,
such as what?
Traffic control devices and how they're used.
I see. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, with legislation, so you're talking about the definition within the penal code compared to legislation.
Yep.
Satan, they're essentially stop signs.
Exactly that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, okay.
Yeah. But we'll cook on this for a bit. We'll it's gonna get spicy from my from what I can tell.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Let me know if you need anything.
Will do.
And
100%.
changes are coming. I'd like to know as well, so we can prep for it.
Can you I was gonna ask, for some of these things, if you hear anything about how they have come to this conclusion, if there's active I don't actually. You know what? I was gonna ask if where did this come from? I don't think it's come from the LSPD. And even if it did, there would still be speculatively contraband.
Right. You're saying if there's any investigations proven these items to be used illegally.
Precisely.
Right.
Yeah.
I can ask around. I could see if we got any reports. I know we do have some.
Yeah.
For some items. As to which items they are, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head here.
Yeah. So, some of them I think are within reason, but it's more like these jump boots and stuff that come into play.
Wingsuits.
Yeah.
I'll ask. I can at least ask.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I don't see how anybody could correlate those to being illegal. But yeah, I'll let you know what I find.
All right. Beautiful. All right. Well, Turner, unless there's anything you got for me, listen, I'm here to support you. So, oh wait, shit, you have stars on.
I do.
You get new threads coming?
Yeah, we got a couple new things for Motor.
It's good to hear.
And, a couple new threads here and there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All those car parts you might have, by the way, might be illegal now.
All the car parts?
Who's to say? They could wake up tomorrow and say they're all illegal.
So they're not legal yet.
But if they are tomorrow, Rebozo.
Then we'll
every cop driving a modified car is a felon automatically because there's more than 5 parts in there.
Yeah, that could be problematic.
And I'm using that as an example, not to say it's going to happen, but I'm trying to provide the perspective of the civilian base right now, right?
I understand.
Yeah, that's
fair enough.
So,
all right, you need anything, you let me know. All right,
I appreciate it.
All right, you feel better.
Right.
Y'all take care.
You take care too.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Have a good one, Big Chief.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Turner.
You take care.
Junior, do you got your MDT?
No, not on me.
I recommend go sign in and come back over here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't go to that meeting. I think I would have absolutely crashed out based on that fucking energy I got from Arcadia.
Yeah.
Holy fucking cry me a fucking river. Oh my God, why'd you put out a fucking announcement? Fuck out of here.
I have some comments to make when I walked in there. I was like, oh yeah, thanks Tony for showing up to the meeting. I was like, okay. I didn't say anything yet.
Oh, that's a
and
classic,
when I went in my head and they started be like, oh, nothing of value was lost and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
they were already on edge.
Wow.
I don't. And they should be because they know they fucked up and they're trying to get away with it. Then I'm not gonna give any fucking sympathy. You know what I mean? The fucking energy they got, it's fucking embarrassing. You know what it reminds me of? Like, I pick up the newspaper every so often, see how things are going, happening all around the world. And I look at that, I'm like, you know what? They'd fit fucking right into some people's goddamn cabinet.
Yeah. Another interesting thing about the contraband situation is a lot of those things those don't need to be contraband to prove any overarching crime. It's not like a link to another link. It's just
exactly
illegal for the sake of,
Exactly. It's you're circumventing democracy. That's all that's happening. There's no representation. There's no anything.
If someone uses jump boots to resist arrest, that's resisting arrest.
Why isn't it like that? Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, who's to say that car parts don't become illegal tomorrow? Like, I don't.
Because then the justices would have to admit that they are also guilty, and they don't want to do that.
Well, how is fire not illegal?
Another game of egos again, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's such severe incompetence. The fact that they just started crying immediately on the phone over the state announcement. Like, how dare you call us out? You entered into politics, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I
The energy was tense in that room.
I just cannot get over the line that I cannot. The reason I cannot like rationalize their action here is a lack of self-reflection to say, hey, by doing this, we're saying legislation doesn't matter. Like, I don't know what, like, twisted thinking that you have to make that decision. You have to actively be ignoring everything that's been built up over the last 7 months. Every conversation, everything.
I do find it peculiar that Blaine County gives no pushback to these things. They make no stink about it.
I don't think they recognize it yet.
They're not really aware of it, and they're really buddies with BCSO. So
that's
I wouldn't put this on them. They haven't seen how bad this gets, right? I think they are taking what the deal. I mean, you heard what Turner said, right? They said it's within their purview. It's not, right? Now you have to understand that if you are new into the office of Blaine County, who are you to, you're going to be like, well, who's to say? Why would they be lying, right?
Amen.
The problem is that I do believe that they actually believe this to be true.
What about a potential meeting with Blaine County administration to see about sort of joining the cause?
I mean, we could possibly. Who wants to fill in Junior? Let's get Junior up to speed real quick.
Pre-warning, I may be slightly drunk.
Perfectly fine.
Imagine.
Yeah.
We wish we all were.
I'm hungover, so yeah.
Yeah. What do I?
I got to
need
think
know?
about something real quick. Feel free to start.
Absolutely. There was half a dozen changes made, at least, to the penal code. Weird things like perjury was made a capital offense. They have arbitrarily created a list of items that are considered contraband, unquote, and associated a felony and a misdemeanor, depending. There's other changes such as I don't know. I can't even remember them.
It's all gone tits up, and basically all the justices have thought, yeah, fuck it, this will be a crease. I'm just gonna be really power hungry and just fuck everything up.
Tony, what was a couple of the other ones?
they've upgraded assault and battery on a government employee into felony. Government documents or classified documents is a crime now. If you're in possession of classified documents or FIB documents, you'll get charged for each document. Yep.
And they didn't think to run this by us.
Nope. They this is the crazy thing about it, is that they barely brought it up at the end of the Sunday meeting. And they claim that they're only changing the fine in time.
Yeah, they literally brought it up just because they needed you and Mumble's help to mess with the adjustments.
Yep.
But outside of like the descriptions or additions, they never mentioned anything about that.
Which to me shows malice, because fine and time is within their purview, right? That does make sense. Fine and time, sure. But then they went ahead and changed the things that they know they're not supposed to change. But they only
it also
told you
highlights the
fine
fact that they knew what they were doing before they got enacted today. They already had plans then. They just want to make sure the math was right so they can actually put it in accurately.
Does Michael know about this?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, what did he say?
When I spoke to him, he's in the same position as me. We're exhausted. It was very mentally draining, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I was, I wasn't really involved with all the Pred stuff, but it took a toll on all you guys, right? And this is just another fucking thing that we don't need to deal with.
No,
it's just
like
why? Like everything that everyone in the cabinet tries to do is trying to benefit Los Santos, and they're just trying to make our lives harder. It's fucking dumb. Like
they're functioning as a arm of the police department. So
what
the
fuck is I just want to go skydiving without getting a felony out? What the fuck is this shit?
Oh, it's Michael's like meme legislation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, holy fuck. Oh shit, I gotta send out a PSA, don't I?
To be perfectly honest, I did have a load of business stuff to talk to you about, but I'm assuming you're going to be very busy.
No,
with
go
this.
ahead. I'd love to hear some other topic.
I mean, do you want me to start with the good news?
Please.
So, I want to approve some businesses, if that's cool with you.
Go for it.
I read through a business plan called the 404 Casino. That was really good. And I think having a casino, I mean, people have been fucking dying to gamble here. And I think any form of it is just going to be huge. So I think, why not?
Love it.
There's another business called Jack of All Trades.
Let me see. I see it. Yeah.
Let me find the other one real quick. Hold on.
I know the distillery licenses aren't on the website yet. And I want to talk to Archibald about some amendments to the moonshine. But yeah, Mumble's really spat in the face of people in the north, and it kind of pisses me off. He lied to my face.
Wait, what happened?
Beginning February 9th, moonshine is no longer legal to produce in the north. You are only allowed to have 2 crates of moonshine, and you have to register 1 small still with BCSO.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
They butchered it.
Wait,
Oh, yeah.
You can have only 1 still?
One
Small still.
One old still. Not even the
Not the
nicer
commercial
stills to
grade
make
stuff.
the good stuff. Yeah.
Let's legalize it in the South.
That's what I'm going to talk to Archibald about.
Love it.
He said he'll be back in next week sometime, so I'm going to meet with him. And I think we could tie it in with the distributor licenses.
Agreed. I think let's get our own. I think that's the best way to do it. This is likely stemming from a conversation I tried having with them. But they were like, okay, this is going to be tough to talk about, but I'm going to try anyways. I had a chat with Princess, and she was saying the only people that are interested in moonshine are selling to locals.
I had like a really long conversation with her about it. And
do you want to expand on it? Is Jason going to be aware?
So when I talked to Princess, she was very much so in like a 50-50 situation. She speaks to some people and say, yeah, there should be licenses, and other people, sort of sway in the other direction. And she sort of came to the conclusion that there's going to be very few people that use the legislation for what it's meant to be used for, e.g., take me or someone like Max who own bars, right? We'd actually try and sell it to the people of Los Santos rather than locals. Whereas I'll be perfectly honest, the current culture of Los Santos is people will get a license and then go, fucking say less, I can just not get my shit raided and just
I
do as many runs as I want to and just not get, you know, worst case, all I get is joyriding.
And so I was waiting on everything else because I had talked to Princess, or tried talking to her about, you know, it's like the law said you could produce it, you can be in possession of it, but the stills were still illegal. Trying to sell it to the last call is illegal. And so I was like, how am I supposed to produce if the stills are illegal? How am I supposed to sell to bars if it's illegal? And now it's gone backwards, and that just makes me angry.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate thing is I think people have been speaking to the Northern Mayor's office with the wrong mentality is the best way I can describe it. Is it true that people are likely to purchase things and then they may do something illicit? Sure, but that isn't how we should be thinking about our world.
Exactly. And I made this point, sorry to interrupt. I made this point about Princess, right? We have to be part of the culture change. If we're not giving people the opportunity to do it, then why the fuck are we here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's my opinion, but like there's, in my opinion, so little for civilians to do in Los Santos, and just taking that extra thing away is just like, okay, it's just like another kick to the backside for them, basically, and I feel it's a bit like, all right, cool.
Well, some of it stemmed from Chaos Legion being told that, now part of this is on Pred. His original legislation wasn't the best either. But the reason why a lot of people, and I think this is where it's getting misunderstood, is they were told that they can only do it on like non-private property or something like that, when the reality is that Blaine County's legislation should have said, had an area, because the thing is, people are worried that the way it was written, if they put their stills out in the open, people are going to steal them. That's reasonable. But the solution should have been that there is maybe designated areas for moonshining. And guess who protects those licensed distilleries? Blaine County Sheriff's Office, right? Like, this is the equivalent of saying we cannot run our factory in Paleto because someone's going to steal everything from our factory. That's what law enforcement is for, right? I mean, am I tripping? I mean, that sounds pretty straightforward, no?
It's exactly what's supposed to be, but...
Yep.
But I mean, the sentiment that I got from Princess talking with her, and her opinion from getting Chaos Legion, just like the complexity of the legislation that she felt was just like, if it's hard, just don't do it.
I think when I spoke to Princess, I don't want to say she was disillusioned with what she was doing, but
she may have been misled.
So, I think she thought she was going to be able to do a lot more, and she then realized, oh shit, I actually can't do that much.
And
that's the reality. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think a lot of, from the outside looking in, I think people probably assume that being in the cabinet you can do all kinds of stuff, but it's being blunt, and maybe I'm being a dickhead here because I've won too many beers, but it ain't the case, in my opinion. Like, I think there's only so much you can do, right?
True. That is true.
Who is Princess again, for my enlightenment?
She's
Princess
one of the
Elena.
one of the deputy mayors.
Of Blaine County, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
the fact of the matter is they can do a lot. They can do whatever that mayor empowers them to do. That's within the scope of that mayor. So they can be putting out their own legislation on a daily basis. They can be removing legislations or codes that apply to their county. They can be setting standards. So whether they're empowered to do that by the mayor themselves, but if it's within the mayor's power, then he can delegate, or he or she can delegate. Am I off track with that? Anyone?
No. Yeah, you're 100% right. I'm trying to pull up the comments. Going back to the penal code, I just remembered, if there's no way for us to pull out the old comments, it should be in our emails, right?
I'm not good with finding comments, but let me
whilst you're looking for that, Nino, can I give you the rest of the rundown? All the
Yeah, please. Yep, go right ahead.
I written up the what's it called?
Just one sec, I found it.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. From Arcadia directly. So this comes entirely from the current legislation that is in place. The adoption of the penal code has always been left with the justices, where if like a charge is legislated, we're expected to place charges into the penal code that reflect that county's legislation. This is why it was changed. The entire conversation's right here. And that's why it was changed to, they may only modify them. This is crazy. I have the comments all sitting in here.
Would you be so kind to post that into announcements so we can all just scope in on?
If you look at like wherever your Google Doc stuff is going, search for penal, and you should see the comment pop up. The fundamental flaw, I think, in their logic is that I think they believe they can ad hoc create state legislation through the penal code, which is so fucking cooked. That is absolutely cooked. The worst thing about it is I think they believe this is me versus them, or us, like our cabinet versus them, where this is actually a slap of the face to fucking democracy. This is just I yeah, that's crazy. I think this was all hidden from us. I'm convinced of it.
But why though? Like,
I don't know.
What have they gained from it? Like,
that feeling that they matter, that their voice is more powerful than that of the people. I mean, outside of like fucking, aristocratic and societies and shit like that, I don't see why anyone would think this would be good. I don't know.
Look, I'm fine. Hi.
Yeah.
So, where the fuck do we go from here?
I don't know. I'm kind of thinking fuck the system. I'm gonna be flipping a coin on fuck the system. I'm done. Versus going all in. Oh, I think I'm good now.
Yeah. Should I give you the rest of the bits?
Yes, please.
I finished the legislation you told me to write about properties.
All right.
It should be in the legislation tab in our emails, and also a Carter Xavier Jones is selling.
Whoa, wait, run it back, run it back.
Which bit? Run it back.
You said some things, and I was trying to catch up. I was expecting you were going to point out thought you had businesses to point out.
Oh shit. I do, but wait, we can do that first.
Yeah, let's do that first. I got it open.
So I've got 2 of my businesses that needs to be approved. If that's cool. This is kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, maybe in private, if that's cool, in a bit.
Okay. All right. Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's one called Welsh Puffs Company. Do you see that?
Let's do this tomorrow.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I think I need to. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. For the properties, I had some ideas. I don't know if that it would need to be legislated though. But if anybody wants to run through those, just let me know.
I think I need to cook on this penal code thing and sort of come up with a decision of some kind.
You know, that was Jesus.
Oh, what did he say?
Well, he's doing lawyer shopping because he's apparently has a basis to, right? But I let him know that I'm with the mayor's office here. But he's around. I don't know if he's someone you wanted to follow up with, but yeah, that was the call.
I think it might be worth helping him with that. I think the most concerning bit is going to be the the tank, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. So helping him how? Helping him as a mayor's cabinet member, or helping him as a defense attorney, or
defense attorney. I think that would be.
I'll be suing the police.
Yeah.
That's what. Okay.
I think that's within reason. Yep.
Okay. All right.
All right. I'm gonna take a drive. I'm gonna think a bit, and then I'm gonna get some rest.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna have to sleep on deciding what the next move is gonna look like.
Well, it's good seeing you back around, Nino.
Hey, Jason, have that meeting with.
Yeah, it's good. I just
No.
slowly becoming very uninterested.
Next week, so
I'm
gonna meet with
Here we
him.
go.
Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna meet with him next. Archibald.